I do feel at home here. My friend always say, home is where the heart is. It's a good saying, I like that. Because I had some restless years. When I traveled extensively, I was always thinking I need to find like the best place where I finally belong. Because I was a restless little soul, and I searched here and there, and I thought I have to search across the world really to find that place where my heart says, yes. My name is Nicole. I'm from a little small town near Cologne called Lüdenscheid. And we came over here, me and my little boy initially, in 1994 for a holiday. And then we settled here in 1995 because my son wanted so badly to come back. And I thought we could come back for a little bit, but we stayed. We got stuck, say sometimes jokingly, stuck by kindness.
Friendliness. People are very friendly, and people have big hearts. I'm Dani. I was born in Saxony, and this is where I grew up, in Germany. I'd lived in Berlin for 15 years, and I came here because I fell in love with the language and the people and the country when I came here on holiday for the first time many years ago. And in 2015 I moved to Wales to learn Welsh, learn more of Welsh and live in the language and live in the culture, and I'm very happy now that I'm actually working with the language. It's been a good decision to move here and actually embrace everything that came with it.
1994, when my little boy, Yannick, he was nearly just four, he had been very ill in Germany with meningitis, which hardly anybody ever survived, and children didn't survive that at all. At that time they said, sorry, no, he won't survive the night. And amazingly he did. And they were sort of, whoa, that's really good. So he survived one night, let's hope. And he actually survived against all the odds another night. And then they were more positive and saying, we don't know how he's managed that, but we do think this could be his second birthday. And that was the 16th of September. And only later did I find out that was actually Owain Glyndwr's birthday, the Prince of Wales, the proper Prince of Wales, because sometimes my family later called him the Prince of Wales so jokingly. He survived, but he had difficulty with his mobility, difficulty with his muscles in the face. He couldn't really feel anything anymore with his fingers. He was really struggling with loud noises that seemed to give him a pain in the head, and he ran away screaming and panicking, and he wasn't well. By coincidence, a German friend, she lived over here on Anglesey, and she said, you too, you really need a holiday. And as well, over all of this, my marriage broke apart, so I got divorced. And then I had this little sick boy, and my friend said, come over. And I didn't know much about Wales then. I heard some things, but I didn't know how beautiful it was when I got here. The places she'd shown us. And then we came to Newbro, a little village, maybe 300-400 people. And Yannick then, he had really white blonde hair, so he was really stuck out. And the village boys, it was like about 40, 50 boys, they spotted him, and German boy, football, and they all came running like absolutely this sea of little bobbing heads wanting to play football with the German boy. And Yannick was like, at first, so, whoa, what's that? And then he sort of like, as if you plugged him into a socket, and he sort of woke up and he said, football! He was running with them as if he forever known them.
I came to Wales for the first time in 2006 for a holiday with friends and just fell in love with the country and the language, the people. The second time was then with a friend. Again, that was the crucial holiday because I came here knowing I want something special. I'm going to make a decision about what I want to do, and it was sort of hovering somewhere. We weren't that fortunate with the weather then, so we went to Llanberis, to the Slate Museum, and after that splitting show there, I just said, "Oh, diolch," ta-da. And the guy there, he was just like, "Are you here to learn the language?" And then she said, "No, but I'd love to." And that basically was the decision to learn Welsh.
We were there for 2 or 3 weeks for a holiday, and when he woke up in the morning, he was, "My friends, football out." And he was just laughing and smiling and playing with his mates. And I really liked it when I just popped my head off the window thinking, my God, he's 4. Next door I said, "Don't worry, he's over there. We got him." So the whole village always looked out for what the boys are up to and what they're doing, and especially that little German boy. They always looked after him. And so it was Yannick who said, "Can we come back again?" And I did that thinking half a year we could come back for a little bit longer and then go back. And he was in his glories. He wanted to start school, and I said, you can't even talk English, never mind Welsh." He didn't know what I meant.
It was a life-changing holiday in a way, and I didn't care about the weather, to be honest. It just felt good to be here. So I came here for summer school twice, and then after the second time I made the decision, okay, I'll give it a go. Nothing to lose, I'll do it now or never. If it works out, it's great. If it doesn't, I'll be back. In this time, going like, "Oh my God, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Oh my God." And after handing in my notice in the job, which is a bit of a step, really, it was like, okay, it's happening now. Whoa, telling all my friends about it, and they were like, okay. Then actually packing my car and being on the motorway to the ferry was a good feeling. I was really happy doing that, so it felt right.
Yannick was 5 when he started school, and I met somebody then, and I thought it's a really, really nice man, but he turned out to be the devil in person. He was nice initially, but he stopped that as soon as we moved in with him. He got really possessive and really horrible. He put us through hell, but he had beautiful parents, and they really looked after us. But it was very, very scary, especially when he got drunk, and the emotional abuse. Even Yannick suffered then. He started whispering as soon as we came home. And I said at that point, right, that's enough. You don't have to whisper. And he was like whispering, "It's better because of John." No, okay, that's enough. Now we're going back to Germany. Then he said to me, "Mom, I'd do anything for you, but I'm not going back to that Germany." And I was really homesick then, after all we've been through. And I phoned my mom, and she said, "I wish I could say, come back, here's money for a ticket." But she said, "If Yannick is so adamant, I'm sorry, you've got a responsibility now. I wish I could say, come home, but I can't." I said, "I don't know how to actually do it." I approached the local councillor, and he said, "I can't just give you a house. You need to go to a refuge, a women's refuge." Oh my God, do I really? And he said, "Otherwise it can't work any different if you want your own house here." Then pretty quick we got a council house actually in Winchingen. That was amazing. I got my own place, and we had such a good time on our own together. And when he finally realized this is our house and there won't be anybody shouting, he was asking to have cornflakes. All he wanted to do is make a noise with that cornflakes bag, because that was one of the things with this horrible man when we disturbed his sleep in the mornings getting ready for school, and the cornflakes bag made a noise. And then Yannick actually sort of tried that, and nobody's coming out, we are safe here now, this is our house. And then we really settled into the community.
If you don't speak the language, you can't really connect with the people. My name is Rhiannon. I'm from Bangor, from here. I've lived in Germany for a year, and in Greece for a year, in Corfu, and in Canada for 2 years. But then I came back. I have some very, very good friends in Germany, and that probably led me to liking languages. And I studied German and lived in Germany for a year. That was in 1981, a long time ago. But my connection with German goes back much longer than that. My grandmother was widowed at 27 in the 1930s and was very poor and rented out rooms, and she was a strong pacifist, and she would take Germans and no one else. She became a lifelong friend of many of them, and the family now where we go to stay are the grandchildren of one of my grandmother's lodgers. So it's a long connection.
When Yannick was, I think he was just 11, I met somebody else, and this time a very kind guy, and he had 3 kids, and we sort of had this patchwork family together. His 2 boys, the girl was older, she moved out earlier, but his 2 boys and Yannick and me were living together then, and Yannick all of a sudden had brothers and sisters, which he absolutely adored. There was never a question for him that he wouldn't want to stay here. And even when he was small and we went mackerel fishing from Gwynedd Island, Island. I never forget that moment when he sort of like had this mackerel he just caught, and then he looked round, and we were sitting on this rock on a beautiful summer's day, and he just looked round and you can see Snowdonia and up to the clean peninsula, and you can look wherever you want. It's absolutely gorgeous. And he just stood there with this mackerel, and then he said, "Mom, I'm never ever gonna go away from here." I started learning Welsh when I was still with this horrible tyrant guy, and he didn't allow me to go out, so I had to sneak out to the Welsh lessons in the morning when he wasn't in. I'm always grateful for the Centre of Continued Education here in Bangor University. Erwin Hughes and Nia Williams. They made it actually happen that I could go to this little village class. They kept it going for me because I wanted to learn it so badly.
I do remember being in Carnarvon in the post office, and everybody was speaking Welsh, from small childs to old people.
If you grow up speaking a language, and if that language is a threatened language as well, you are more protective of the language than you would otherwise be.
Especially with the history of the Welsh being sort of treated really badly for centuries, so it's very important to show the appreciation. People are very proud of their language and a bit protective sometimes, but I can see why, because it's been under threats.
We can be a little bit offended that English speakers don't realise that we're here. They don't realise that there's another language.
Just saying things like diolch was like people lighting up.
If we see that someone has tried and can say a word or two, then at least they are aware that we exist.
It's good to show people that, yeah, Welsh is a minority language, but it's not worth less than other languages, and it's very beautiful, and it's worth keeping it alive.
I'm actually quite proud I do speak the language and try to sort of put its name on the map as well in Germany as well. Most people, they do say Ireland, they can say Scotland, but they don't say Wales. They say England. And I think it's horrible. It's not England, so I get quite prickly about that. It's not England.
It's a normal thing still. Everywhere we go, people think we're English. So we're constantly having to say, no, we're not English, and we're not Scottish, and we're not Irish.
What you hear about people is that they're a bit afraid of learning Welsh. But I was just curious. I really wanted to know more about the language and sort of crack the system and understand how it works. There is a structure, and once you get the structure, that's it. You can keep going, and then you get the little things that you just maybe can't learn really, that you have to experience, and you have to feel, and you have to get a feel for it. But it comes with time. It's fine. For me, it's a journey, and it doesn't stop really, because you never stop learning a language, even your own language.
In the beginning, I did try to sort of convert German sayings, translate them, sort of word for word, which comes across completely wrong. What do we say? Zwei Fliegen mit einer Klappe. We say like two flies with one, fly trap, and nobody knew what I was talking about. What I tried to say here. They killed two birds with one stone. It's a bit more drastic.
I was in the final round of the Welsh Learner of the Year 2 years ago in the Eisteddfod in Pogoda. It was a very intense, very good experience. It had a big impact on how my life went on afterwards. The word for breeze is awel, one of my favourite words in Welsh. It's a lot more than a breeze. It is used to describe breeze, but also it's comfort, a nice feeling, and a breeze can be something really nice on a hot summer night, on a hot summer day. So it's comfort as well. There's always a bit more to it.
Probably that's what it is. There is so much feeling and emotion going on in the language, in the people. It's unbelievable.
To some extent, I can say things with more depth actually in the Welsh language than I could in the English and German sometimes. There's more of a felt meaning, maybe, an emotional meaning. The word hiraeth, longing. Longing doesn't quite describe what it is. That's how you translate it, but there's more to it than just the translation. It's connected with sadness sometimes, because hiraeth, you've got for something that might be gone, that you can't reach anymore. Hiraeth for home, when you live away. It's a very strong feeling, and you can't translate it. Not in English. Maybe the German word Sehnsucht might sort of get it slightly.
The place is very important to us. A lot of people name their children after a place. Something Menai, because they're near the Menai, or something Meirion, because they come from Meirionethshire, or Morn or Vaughan is from Anglesey.
For Welsh people, it's very important where you come from. Home is very important. They're very there's a close relationship to home. They're very attached to where they come from. The Welsh word used for it is aelwyd, and aelwyd actually is the hearth in the fireplace. That's the translation, but the fireplace was the central place in the house. This is where the family gathered, this is where people were together, so that's the word used for home, for where people grow up.
Well, I've come back here after living in many places.
I would miss so many things that I've got here, and I would so miss the language. It's very strange. When I go back to Germany, I always take a Welsh book or something to keep in touch with the language.
Sometimes I do speak like 3 languages in one sentence to Yannick, for example, and amazingly, he understands perfectly. Nobody else does. It's our little code language, because he knows the same when the head gets a bit tired and then all the words are tumbling in your head.
Being sort of trilingual in a way is cool and a bit of a challenge again, because sometimes I'm looking for words and it comes in 2 languages, but not the one I'm speaking at the moment.
You speak some sort of, I don't know, winged English.
I've just been to Ireland and my brain was all the time in Welsh. It was very odd to go out and speak English with the people. And instead of saying thank you, I kept saying diolch.
First, I couldn't really sort of get the melody until I heard the school choir then singing. And the Welsh language sung, that's really when it opened up for me. And I was so enchanted.
Both speaking and singing Welsh is quite similar, so that they both follow a rhythm. They both have some sort of flow, and the singing in Welsh, the music just supports that. I sing in a Welsh learners choir, which has done a lot for me to just open up the culture as well.
We all sing or recite or play an instrument. Most Welsh people, here at least, belong to a choir of some sort.
People just love music. Loads of people just grow up with it in the family. They learn instruments.
Originally, it was something that kept people together. Reading, reciting, performing has always been important to us. And now it's just a tradition, it's what we enjoy.
It really goes down into your heart and soul.
I've always loved travelling, but I always dreaded going home. Now, I still like travelling, I still like being away, but I look forward to coming home.
I did leave the country again in 2009. After years of travelling, I decided to come back in September 2017. And I think I will stay for good now. Found the place where I belong. Really did. Home is where the heart is, and it's here.